If you like Bungie games for the gameplay, you're probably gonna like Marathon. If you like Bungie games for the story, you might not like Marathon.
Assert, you are the edge of the blade. Assert, you cut clean through all resistance.
I went to the Bellevue, Washington studio and played about 7 hours of Marathon, which, if you don't know, is an extraction shooter. You're probably thinking, what the hell is an extraction shooter? It's a kind of blend of battle royale and traditional multiplayer where you spawn on a map, and the goal is to grab as much as you can, stay alive, and get out. So then you can hoard those resources and make future runs quicker. It is very different from what people probably expect from Marathon, which is a little more traditional in the Halo mold, where it's like a first-person shooter and there's a narrative there. This feels like early Destiny in the best and worst ways. The best ways being is Bungie. They know how to make good ass shooting. They know how to make shooting that feels good. And within seconds, minutes, I knew that this felt like a good first-person shooter. I was playing it and I was like, oh, I want to do more of this. However, it doesn't really have its own hook, which is concerning for me because there's a lot of games that do good shooting right now. It's got like the characters, there's a lot of cool characters and they all have their own little roles in each match. You have like the soldier type, you have the tank type, you have like an information gatherer, a like combat anarchist is one of them, glitch, which is like, cool, okay, but we've had that before. We've had that in Apex, we've had that in Overwatch. So what are you doing new here? And the answer is, not a lot. They're just doing good shooting, which is cool. But on its own, it might not be enough to take people away from the games that they have devoted days, months, and at this point years into. So it's not sticky enough, if you know what I mean. The story is, there's a colony there that has suddenly vanished and the government are trying to keep it secret, and that's about it. They could not give us any more. I am not sure there is any more. I asked like, what's the deal? They were like, oh, you're gonna have these little stories and every faction is gonna have its own backstory and it's like a mysterious narrative. The player's gonna be able to influence the story in some ways. They're also gonna have their own like gameplay driven stories. I didn't see any of that. It's a lot of like tell not show right now, which I am concerned about. I would be more concerned if this wasn't kind of Bungie's MO a lot of time. Destiny 1 launched, great gameplay, didn't have the story that people wanted. They had to introduce grimoire cards to start telling the story, and you access them outside of the game. Destiny 2, similar, launched, gameplay was good, didn't have much meat on the bone. Eventually, both games got there, and I have no doubt that Marathon will get there. I'm confident in it, because Bungie has done it before. However, at this stage, it is just a solid shooter. Everything around it is threadbare, and it's coming out soon.
How soon?
September. It's coming out in September. I'm not a developer. I don't know how much you can get done in those few months, but it feels like there's a lot to go in terms of what people expect when that game comes out, because they're going to be playing fully featured, content-rich games that they are familiar with, their friends play, they've been playing for years. And then they're gonna try a game which has decent shooting, but everything around it is not quite there potentially, which means moving over to something like Marathon is gonna be a big ask. It feels like Marathon's gonna be a good game, a great game one day, but the question is, does it have enough to get it to that one day? And currently, based on what I played, I don't think so.
So all of that would be fine if it was a free-to-play game. It is not free-to-play game. It is a full-priced premium product, which given what I talked about before, is a huge ask for people. Pay full price for a game that you're kind of betting on being much better than it is in the future. So that is a concern in a major way, spending money on a game that isn't the one that you've invested years in and have already spent money in and have like a community in. Big caveat. If it was free to play, fine. It's full price and has a battle pass.
The shooting is, so it's got the weightiness of the Destiny and Halo melee style thing, where it's like every time you shoot something, it feels like the impact is there and the feedback is there. And what I do like, what I think is the coolest part of Marathon so far, is the AI enemies. In the map, there's players, squads of 3, but there are also just AI enemies. And games have done that before, but what makes it different here is those AI enemies, they behave really well because they're Bungie AI enemies. And if you played Halo, you've played Destiny, you know what that means. They're not just dum-dums that are gonna run at you and that's it. They do like evasive maneuvers, they flank, they use weaponry properly. They will get the jump on you a few times. And if you get like the commander style enemies, and you're not careful and you don't take them seriously, they will wipe your team, because they did it to me and my team. Like multiple times we like took the AI enemies for granted and didn't really think about them, and then suddenly found ourselves being backed into them, and like those dudes that we decided weren't worth our time are suddenly like mowing us down. So you have to take it seriously. But they're not so hard that a normal player who hasn't got a lot of experience is going to get murdered immediately. They give you just enough pushback to feel like you're doing something and you're building confidence, which I think is a really cool way of taking people who might not be familiar with the extraction genre and giving them a path to building confidence and getting familiar with it. And I think ultimately that is what is going to be the most appealing part of Marathon when it launches. It's a game that feels good and it's got a low barrier to entry and it's polished. It could be a lot of people's first extraction shooter. My worry is once they've reached the level where they're like, okay, I'm good, let's get into this, there might not be much around it. The story is not formed as far as I can tell, and it could take a while to get there in the same way that Destiny did. Again, slightly concerning, but it's Bungie. They've done this before. Fingers crossed.